Hi, this is Alison Hall and Manos Brilakis from the Minneapolis Heart Institute and the Cardiovascular Innovations Foundation, presenting case 131 for the Manual of CTO Interventions. This is a case of equipment distraction as well as description of an alternative way to confirm distal wire position. The patient was a man with previous coronary bypass and aortic valve replacement. He had undergone PCI of a circumflex CTO 3 years prior and presented with angina and dyspnea. 3 months prior to the current presentation, he was found to have a severe lesion in the circumflex. An attempt was made to treat it that was unsuccessful. He subsequently had worsening of his symptoms and was referred for treatment, but this time his circumflex was occluded. We did have a tapered entry to the lesion, length less than 20. The distal vessel was poorly seen and was mainly filling through collaterals from the right coronary artery. These were not interventional, therefore the plan here was to try undergrade wire escalation or undergrade dissection and re-entry. Bifemoral access, 8 French EBU to the left, 7 French multipurpose to the vein graft to the right, and multiple wire escalation attempts failed despite using multiple wires, including the pilot, Fielder XT, as well as Gaia Second through a Mamba microcatheter. We then attempted to knuckle around the previous stent, something that we sometimes have to do when we're unable to advance through the stent. It was challenging, but then eventually with the Sion Black, a knuckle was formed and advanced around the stent. The Mamba was changed to a Turnpike LP microcatheter. However, the Turnpike LP would not cross together with the knuckled guide wire. During attempts to cross, the position was lost. We were able to advance it again, use a guide extension and perform repeat knuckling. And we can see after removing the microcatheters that their tips were significantly deformed, suggestive of calcium and the difficulty advancing them around the previous stent. Eventually, a threader could be advanced along the knuckled guide wire, and finally a Turnpike LP could be advanced past that stent in the subintimal position. Once again, there was very poor visualization of the circumflex territory, but using a Miracle 6, a Stingray balloon could be delivered. The problem is that trying to do re-entry was challenging because exactly we couldn't visualize the distal vessel. We know that one way to confirm whether the wire is true lumen or not is to actually advance the microcatheter and transduce the pressure and see if the pressure is actually suggestive of true lumen position. So the microcatheter was advanced further down, and this is the pressure transduction from the microcatheter. This is the systemic pressure, and clearly this is not in the true lumen, this is a flat waveform. So this continued, the Stingray was re-advanced, repeat re-entry attempts were made, but the wire kept on being subintimal. Then we had to use another Stingray, but it was deformed and wires would not exit through that one. We tried to advance a Turnpike, and then during this process we were unable to advance another Stingray balloon. But then we advanced a Stingray wire, and the Stingray seemed to advance spontaneously again, and this time we advanced a Corsair over it, and transducing the pressure demonstrated an arterial waveform. So actually the Stingray wire had successfully crossed into the distal true lumen. And this is another way to confirm distal true lumen position, that is by transducing the pressure from the microcatheter. We switched for the workhorse wire. The wire was advanced distally without any limitation, but then we had difficulty delivering, which can be overcome with manipulations in the guide extensions, stiff wires, different supportive wires, predilating using short and thin strut stents. And all these techniques were required to this patient. Extensive ballooning was done. And then we had to use a guide extension, a Trapliner. Eventually 2.5 and 2.5 by 33 and 38 stents were delivered and deployed. We thought we were done, however, injection demonstrated a perforation. There was a perforation in the distal circumflex within the recently placed stents. It's hard to know why, but chances are this happened during the re-entry attempts from the stingray wire. But because of the patient being bypass patient, there is the concern for loculated effusion and tamponade. And that is why it's critical to promptly treat this and prevent further extravasation. So, as is the standard algorithm, balloon was inflated, fluids were given, and then for distal vessel perforation, the therapy is either with embolization or with placing a covered stent over the perforated branch origin. In our case, the perforated vessel was so small that we could not get into it. That is why a covered stent over it was the treatment of choice. Once again, the options are embolization, covered stent, or send the patient to surgery. We placed the balloon to cause hemostasis. Despite prolonged inflation, there remained extravasation, and we were concerned about this being a coronary bypass graft patient. We used a guide extension to deliver a covered stent. However, during the back and forth attempts, the guide extension broke, and this is retrieval of the fragment of the Trapliner. So fortunately it was within the guide and could be successfully retrieved. We could not get the Guideliner very far. So what we did is we preloaded a covered stent in a 6 French Guideliner outside the body and advanced them as a unit, which did make some progress around the previous stents, but then it was hard to advance it. The shaft kinked, and actually there was a shaft fracture in the shaft of the balloon. So we fractured the guide extension. Here's a fracture of the covered stent balloon. But once again, we reattempted this with a new guide extension, 6 French, preloaded the covered stent, and this time, after slow manipulation, paying attention not to kink the push rod of the guide extension, we were able to finally get through this bend and deliver the Graftmaster around the area of perforation. And this happened before the era of the PK papyrus stents. The stent was positioned across the perforation and then deployed with a nice result and successful sealing of the perforation. There was no effusion by echo, although echo is notoriously not very sensitive for detecting loculated effusion in previous coronary bypass patients. Very complex case with long fluoroscopy time and nearly 4 gray in radiation. So in summary, circumflex CTOs can be challenging. That was certainly the case in this patient. In cases with in-stent CTOs that cannot be wired through the stent, an alternative way is to go around the stent and then crush the stent, and this is what eventually happened in this patient. But delivery was extremely challenging, having to go through the subintimal tissue and through all this tortuosity on the circumflex. Third lesson is about confirming distal true while position. This was done here by delivering the microcatheter and transducing the pressure. The first time we did this, we were not in the true lumen, but the second time, the wire had actually gone into the distal true lumen. Delivering through tortuosity can be challenging, requiring guide extensions, multiple balloon dilations, as well as supportive guide wires. And finally, perforation in coronary bypass graft patients can be a lethal event. Therefore, it should be immediately treated. This was a small wire perforation. The vessel was so small that it could not be wired, and that is why therapy here was by placing a cover stent across the origin of the perforation and occluding that small perforated branch. Thank you.